Please note, this episode discusses child violence, including sexual violence. While not explicit, listener discretion is advised. Pebbles Sarmiento is a remarkable and courageous woman whose journey from child bride to survivor has inspired countless individuals, particularly those who have experienced trauma, abuse, and the harrowing aftermath of cult life. Raised within the confines of the Tony Alamo Christian Ministries, an abusive and manipulative religious group led by the infamous Tony Alamo, Pebbles' early life was marked by control, fear, severe abuse, and exploitation. From a young age, she was subjected to the oppressive and abusive ideologies that governed the cult, where individuality was crushed and the line between right and wrong was warped to serve the Alamo's corrupt belief system and lifestyle. One of the most harrowing chapters in Pebbles' life was her forced marriage as a preteen, a traumatic event that mirrors the manipulation and coercion that many young women and girls suffer in these cults. For Pebbles, this was not just an abuse of her personal autonomy, but also a violation of her basic human rights. Yet even as a young girl, Pebbles displayed an inner strength that would carry her through unimaginable adversity. At the ripe age of 25, Pebbles managed to escape the cult, breaking free from the control that had defined her entire adolescent existence. This act of bravery, leaving behind the only life she had known, was not only an escape from the immediate danger, but also the beginning of her journey toward healing and self-discovery. Today, Pebbles is a beacon of hope and resilience for countless survivors of cults and trauma. Through media interviews, Pebbles has bravely shared her story of survival, and not for pity or sympathy, but to empower others who have walked a similar path to reclaim their lives and voices. Pebbles is not just a survivor, she is a warrior, and her legacy will continue to empower and uplift survivors for generations to come. This is True Crime in Hollywood, Pebbles' personal tale. Listeners, this is a special interview, and I would like you to meet my favorite Boricua, Pebbles Sarmiento. Welcome to True Crime in Hollywood. How are you, Pebbles?
Thank you, Celene. It's a pleasure being here with you. You're one of my favorite people ever that I've spoken to in regards to trauma. So thank
Oh,
you.
oh my goodness. Well, let me share this then, because top line, everyone, Pebbles and I met on a series that I produced, and while we can't share more about that at this time, I just want people to know that she is one of the main reasons why I've created my workshop and why I came up with this podcast, because she taught me so much in a short amount of time. And I want to lead with that because you are one of the bravest, most resilient, kindest people I have ever met. And truly, I felt like the first time we met, it was like I was meeting a soul sister that I never knew I had. And maybe we met in a previous life. I don't know. But so everyone, this is just one of the most special interviews for me to do. So I want to lead with that. But truly, Pebbles, like the God honest truth that when we met and it was just like, I don't know, even when you called me back, it was just like this instant connection. And so I'm grateful that you're here and you're willing to do this. So now I get to
Oh,
share a little bit more about you with people. So with that being said, you're wearing your New York shirt right now, girl. And
I
we're in the World Series right now, and you know I'm that LA girl. So
it was inspired by the other New York shirt you gave me.
fair, fair. So, with that, first and foremost, I would love to talk about your early childhood and what that was like for you because you were born in Puerto Rico and then your family came over here. So, what can you share about that?
Wow. My island is like that's home for me. That is my grounding, my safe space, the place I go and escape to when I'm dealing with things. Puerto Rico is the only place on earth that is home, like truly feels like home. There's no tarnished memories or anything. So I was born there. And at an early age of about 3 or 4, my mother decided to move out of there and, pursue her American dream per se. It's
Yeah.
definitely different in Puerto Rico. It's more island, slow pace, not city life at all.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that was my early memories,
Yeah.
living there and then moving on out early on.
Yeah. And then you made it to New York, yeah, from that point?
Correct. We did a quick stop in Providence, Rhode Island, where my mom met
Oh,
up with some friends. Yeah, we went from Puerto Rico straight there.
dang.
And then wasn't very long after that, we moved to New York, where essentially I was raised.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was a difficult time, though, for your family, too, being there. Can you share a little bit about that?
Extremely difficult. So my memories are that of a 4, 5-year-old, 6-year-old child up to the age of about 10. It consisted of moving in from a boyfriend's house to then like a friend's basement to then we ended up essentially getting kicked out of there because my mom didn't want to have an affair with this man that was kind of helping her out, which I overheard him telling like a group of guys like we're gonna kick them out, it's fine, don't worry, like.
Ah,
And yeah, these are just my memories, just not having a safe space to be in. And I just remember running to my mom and crying, like, they're gonna kick us out, and
ah,
she was like, no one's kicking us out. We're gonna find our own way. And she went to the local police station and screamed and cried in Spanish. And as a young girl, like from early on, all I did was translate for my mom, who didn't
mm,
know a lick of English.
mhm,
And I had to, translate. Like think about that as a young child, explaining we have nowhere to go. They're gonna kick us out. And my mom's just screaming like a million words per minute, and they're like trying to calm her down. And
yeah.
eventually we got sent to like a shelter home. It's called the
Hmm.
Catherine Shelter Home in New York, and they take in people that are in like dire need of emergency assistance as far as living.
Mm.
And oh, like to this day, I've seen YouTube videos of that place, and it looks like a prison inside.
Ah,
It's so scary. I remember people just kind of passed out, maybe drug induced. I'm not sure why, but there was just like people around. They kind of looked dirty, filthy. There was like showers with no curtains, and my mom would like hold the towel up, and we all huddle in and shower like herds of cows. I don't know. It was just like so inhumane. I feel like we ended up getting sent out of that place pretty quickly when my mom, she never shied of being vocal. She was screaming because there was a rat in my sister's crib in this
oh
fucking
my goodness.
shelter home.
Yeah.
Um,
Ugh.
and yeah, it was just that's just the gravity of it. It was just
Yeah.
filth, scary. And from there, we got placed in like a temporary housing where you still had to like sign in, sign out. Like a lot of these things, I'm not sure what the terminologies are called for these
Right.
housing places because I was so young. But I do know we had to
Exactly.
like sign in, sign out. Felt like a halfway house. Like we were very monitored. And then
Wow.
from there, we moved into another apartment building, which is where I really grew up for most of my life was in this one building. And that's where I started going to school and I started to feel more like grounded, like, okay, I have a school to go to where, it's like a little routine. And I do remember while we were there, though, my mother was just so sad.
Mm.
Like, my memories of my mom are just, wow, sorry.
Oh, mama, that's okay.
She was just a very sad individual. And I can't imagine the things that she was going through as a single mother of 3 children. I could not I could not survive. I don't know
Yeah.
how she did it now that I'm older. I used to blame her like, how dare you raise us like this? How? And now that she's gone, I look at it as with an eye of like sympathy. Like I couldn't have done that. A mother of
Yeah.
3 in New York, no English, no nothing. Some guy wants to take advantage of you and you're just trying to make your way through life with your
Yeah.
kids. And wow, that was tough. And but yeah, I just remember in schools, and I got like a whole pamphlet of things that I've done in school as I was an older adult, and I was going through these school things that I did in elementary school. I only have like up to 4th grade that I actually did schooling
Yeah.
because of the cult I was raised in. And I got a hold of these school papers that I had done from kindergarten to fourth grade. And in there, I had stories that I wrote. And the
Mm.
majority of them were, when my mother cries, I cry. Look, mom, there's a balloon. Can I have a balloon? I'm so happy. It was like geared towards emotions and just feeling her pain. And so that kind of
That's
like leads you to a clear understanding of where my mother was just so desperately trying to find stability, happiness. Also with her own issues, like I'm not sure if my mother had part autism.
mm,
There was definitely something there with her where her thinking wasn't that of maybe normal moms. Like
yeah,
um, red flags weren't so obvious for her, such as like
got it. Yeah.
living with a person she's thinking is just going to help us out. No, that's not how life works. This man doesn't
No.
just want to help you out. This church doesn't just want to help you out. There's,
Mm-hmm.
look into it further than just titles. And my mother was just kind of like, oh, okay, went with the flow of things. So yeah, it's just,
Yeah.
she had a lot of internal struggles.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just want to stress everyone, Pebbles has shared her story a few times now. And so that's not what, we necessarily want to rehash here today, but I want to make it known that not only did you survive and escape Tony Alamo and the cult itself, but you have continued to share your story. And one thing that you said to me when we first met was that you will continue to sharing your story to raise awareness about the dangers of manipulation and control. And you are also this beacon of hope for other survivors. Can you tell me more about what that journey has been like sharing your story? And do you remember what that first time was like?
Wow, sharing my story, I have a love-hate relationship with it. Um,
Yeah.
Love hate because you tell your story and it's scary, it's terrifying. And I remember my first time verbalizing that anything had happened to me.
Yeah.
We were told not to talk about it. We were stifled with everything that had happened to us. We were not allowed to say a word. If anything, we were told to deny everything and say it wasn't true. So to verbalize for the first time that yes, I was being abused. Yes, I was beaten, starved, raped for years on end, like
Yeah.
almost getting osteoporosis in my bones, like at the age of 18 because I was so frail. I just remember telling my story was very empowering at first, very scary, but as soon as you're done telling your story, people don't realize the amount of trauma that just comes pouring down on you.
Yes,
Um, it's debilitating.
it
Um,
is. Mhm.
you feel like you did a good job telling your story, but you had buried all these things and now here they are being brought up. It was extremely debilitating for me the first time I had to tell an FBI agent that came over to my house to confirm if these stories were true. And I told them that was the first time I've ever had to do something like that.
Yeah.
And then shortly thereafter I got deposition to retell my story again. And
Mm.
this time it wasn't with like an FBI agent, there was this lady so
Yeah.
concerned about me. Are you sure this happened? It was now having to tell my story now for the second time in my life. And I remember every instant I had to bring this thing up because it's like another dagger. It's reliving it. It's reliving your rape. It's reliving your trauma. It's reliving everything every time you have to talk about it.
Yeah.
Like I still get emotional today and I'm so much ahead than where I was 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah.
These people were just like interviewing me like, are you sure this happened? And they were like almost like combating me. It was for the other legal team and denying everything. Are you sure? How could this happen? And your mother
Mm-hmm.
didn't know and
Mm-hmm.
da, 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 da. And I'm just like being bombarded and it was just once again not telling my story but also having to defend it, which was a whole nother level of trauma.
Mm.
um
Mm-hmm.
but I've learned though that the beauty of it is after if you could get through that hard phase, telling your story, number one, and then if you can dig yourself out of that place that you're at, pick yourself up, because nobody else can do that.
Yep.
You can read all the self-help books. You could do it's yourself. It's an internal battle that most people, unless you're a trauma survivor, can
Yeah.
understand what we have to go through. And
Exactly.
once you get yourself peeled up off of that space, that's where empowerment comes in. That's
Yeah.
when you realize I did that. I'm a badass. I verbalized something I never was allowed to do and also felt crippled to do. Like I couldn't even verbalize this at one point. And now here I am standing up speaking my truth. And
Hmm.
that voice gets louder. And
Hmm.
it's like, I want everybody to hear this because I don't want anybody to go through the things that I've gone through. I don't want anybody to miss those little red flags that my mother did.
Yeah.
Because I have children now, and the thought of anything happening to them kills me. The thought of anything that has happened to me happen to anybody else, any other child, adult, anyone. Um,
Yeah.
I'm that's my life mission now is to be an advocate to those that are in a vulnerable state. And that's most everyone. We're all seeking some form of joy, some form of embetterment, some outlet, and not all those outlets are good and healthy for you. And it's just identifying which ones they are. And the route my mother took, which she thought was the way to go for us, joining this cult, which she thought was the church, obviously
Yeah.
turned out really horrible. And I just want to raise awareness on this for others.
Yeah. And you're hitting on so many important things that I even shared in my episode, which I said growing up in a Latinx home, you're hitting on something because I was also like, you don't talk about the bad things that have happened to you. You don't. No, you don't go there. And I think I had carried that with me for a very long time. And I think that's also partially why, like, I mean, I just did it a week ago, and really what made me have that aha moment was listening to you and your story because it was like, oh my gosh, wait, no, this all makes sense to me because I'm Nicaraguan American and knowing how your early childhood was and hearing about that, like it was just so reminiscent of it. And then just to think about how many times you have told your story, just know you played such a pivotal role in that. So thank you for sharing that. I know that's very, very hard for you. But with that being said, because you've been interviewed time and time again, what has been your experience, especially when it comes to doing this on camera? What changes or practices do you hope to see down the line?
Oh goodness. More Celine's on set. A
Don't make me
lot
cry.
more of you on set. As you said, that bond that you felt, I instantly felt that. It's not a one-way street. You don't feel something if it's not reciprocated. And to that sister bond feeling that you described is exactly how I felt, why I felt comfortable. And I begged for you to be on set with us because I could feel that your soul was so pure and you genuinely care. You're not just out here sensationalizing my story, someone else's story. You, because you understand very well what I'm
Yeah,
going through.
yeah,
And my recommendation is to have more people like you on set because I've never had anyone sit me down and say, okay, tell your story. But if you need a break, I am here. If you need a hug, I am here. And I just kind of chuckled and I just was like, okay, thank you for that. I just thought it was just words,
yeah,
beautiful words that I needed to hear, but your actions reflected that. I distinctly recalled telling my story once again, and um, I started shaking. I started having a full blown anxiety attack, and I'm pretty much used to living with them, so I didn't
yeah.
stop. I just continued going with my story, my trauma, and you completely shut everything down and gave me a hug that I needed, Celene. People don't do that. They don't stop you and say, you know what, let's stop this. It doesn't matter if we're filming, it doesn't matter what she's saying, at what part we're in. We need to care for this individual. She's gone through enough. Like what she's doing for others, that's great, but let's take care of her too in the meantime.
Yeah.
And you don't see that ever.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, truly, I thought that might be the last day that I would be on that show, to be flat out honest, because I called a wrap, y'all. Like, this is a little behind the scenes, but we wrapped that day, and I couldn't bear the thought of putting you back in that chair. And, what we experienced after that was, like I said, you are the reason that this is why I'm on this mission to make this change, because I saw how difficult that was for you. And again, and you have been someone who has been in front of the camera, who has done this time and time again. Even down to, checking in with you in the morning. And I know that was a hard morning for you as well,
Yeah.
And
Oh
so,
yeah.
I mean, it's and on top of that, we also have another survivor that we can't mention just yet that was also in the cult with you, but both of you, it really was just eye-opening. And I think the reason being is because you were children and going into adulthood in this trauma. And now me being a mother, that for me was like, I need to take care of you and I need to take care of Des, and I'll call her Des here, because it really, I've been on so many sets. I have done this time and time again, but when I say that, I wanted to protect you both, it the team knew it. All of my production team, and you know what? And thankfully, my showrunner came up to me the day that I was leaving to fly back out, and he grabbed my hands and said, "Thank you for everything that you did," and gave me a hug. And truly, like, I thought that day that we filmed that particular day, I was like, am I going to have a job? Am I going to have a job when I get home? Because the thing
Oh
is,
my
y'all,
gosh.
like, we are on such a tight schedule. It
Mm-hmm.
comes down to, money and how long we have to have the crew out there, but it was just I couldn't do it. And my team was so incredible and said, "Yep, we're done. We're cleaning up for the day." I've had to make those executive decisions before in the past. And equally, I also thought on a different show, like, oh, I'm going to be fired. And that was like my last shoot. And then a year came around, and my showrunner on that show was like, I need you. So I
Yes.
do know, like there are proper, advocates in that space, but it's also about raising awareness. And so being able to vocalize that to my production team, your pre-interview that we also did together was, I believe, one of, if not the longest one that I did. And you opened up and shared so much with me. And after that, it was like protection mode. Nobody like mess with me when it comes to Pebbles, because I will go to war for her.
Oh
So
my
just know
God.
that that really was like what happened behind the scenes, and just know
Wow.
that when even after the fact, when we came back from that shoot and everyone, we do a meeting called postmortem, and we talk about these things, and I raised awareness, about this. And I really said to people, what you have to understand, and this will lead me into this next question, um, is that when we are retelling our stories, one of the things that happens is that there's no way to put this. We are re-traumatizing ourselves regardless, because we
Mm-hmm.
are putting ourselves back into that headspace. On top of that, we are also processing the trauma as well, because maybe you're, at a different age at this point. You have different life experiences, just like you said, you've got three
Mm-hmm.
kiddos now. So being able to vocalize that. And then on top of that, also being a mama to a little, a little girl like that, that
Yeah.
is a whole other level. And then third, we can have repressed memories.
Hmm.
And I feel like that was something that was coming up for you and does. Both of you said to me, there are some things that I didn't remember that just came back as I'm sharing my story. And so I think the way that I vocalized that to the crew was, please understand, this is like having you sit down in a therapy session with cameras, lights, all these people that you do not
Hmm.
know. So thinking about how hard it is to do that in therapy, but then also having to do that on a set. So with that, can you share a little bit more on like your end of how that process has happened for you?
Well, I think the first thing I notice is everyone's look in their
Yeah.
eyes.
Yeah.
Their mouth drops, their eyes open. You could tell these people have filmed a lot of things. What, we heard National Geographic and, this
Yeah.
and that. But to sit down and hear a person tell you that as a child they were raped and the details of it, and then to see someone still shaking in fear, sweating, visibly distraught, crying. And
Yeah.
of course, the minute you start talking about it, it's not like a one time event for me. It's not like
Mhm.
that one time he took me and he raped me. This is what happened. There's You're talking about over a decade from the time I was 12 to 25 of abuse. There's so many things that happen in that in all
Yeah.
those years. So the minute we start talking about something, it's like, wow. And then I remember this happened, and then this happened, and it's just things you buried. It's years of trauma, that
Yes.
years of rape, years of abuse, and all of those things just start hitting you at once. It's not just like a trauma survivor, it is a complex, chronic amount of years in this abuse.
Hmm.
So the level, the variety, the severity of trauma that gets brought up while telling my story is different. And I felt the most comfortable with you during our interview, which is why I opened up so much to you. I
Yeah.
told you parts of my story that I hadn't shared with anyone.
Yes.
About three or four people in my life, in this world, a
Yes.
handful of people knew that story aside from you, and you helped me um, be braver. As a
Yeah.
trauma survivor yourself, I saw the impact that you're doing. You're trying to do this to help others, and that was fuel for me. Yes, this is what I want. As bad as it is for me to hurt, it is just as rewarding to help others. So yeah, for that was the first time I shared like a part two version of my
Yeah,
story,
truly. Yeah. And
on
that has
that
stuck with me. And that has stuck with me. And I'm going to share some things that I've never shared with you before about that because I think, let me go back because you said something so important. The reason I think that this series that I produced on and meeting you along with, the other survivors, I have worked so heavily with families who have experienced, murder, who have experienced, a missing person, kind of like one isolated situation. Obviously, that does not negate the trauma that has come with it. But just as you said, this was your life for over a decade. You were being attacked and abused and raped repeatedly. And
Mhm.
so when I was the last person to arrive on this shoot and literally walked into the hotel and Miss Farah turns around and says and introduces myself and then she said, "So Celine's going to brief everyone now too about what we're going to be, interviewing about. And so can you share, and I was not prepared for that moment,
Oh.
and so I talked to the whole crew and I really stressed the things you are going to hear over the next few days is not easy. If you have children, it is not easy. Understand that if you need to take a break, you need to take a break. This is going to be heavy. This is going to be difficult. Understand that, what we are doing is really hard, but it also is going to be extremely hard for our survivors. Then after the fact, I think that first day that we shot with Des, once we went down to go down to the next location, I had a few of the crew members say to me, "You weren't lying. This is really hard." That was very hard. A couple of them wanted to talk through um, and process that, with me and being able to articulate that. Another person revealed, that their parent went through a similar traumatic event. Um,
Wow.
and uh, and then someone else said to me, "I didn't know there's people out there like you that could be on a set. And I wish that that was a regular occurrence because I have watched trauma survivors be alone during that time, and nobody is there to step in. They are crying, they are shaking, they are, really reliving this. And why aren't more people on a set like this?" And so just know that both of y'all made such an impact, and I firmly believe every person who did this episode is forever a changed person. So just
Wow.
know that I really tried to hit it home every chance I got, and even to go as far as even one of the editors shared how difficult it was to watch the footage back, to listen to your
Wow.
stories. And we made it very evident that everyone needed to make sure to take breaks, to uh, really step aside if you need that moment, because secondhand trauma is a real thing. We internalize these things as producers as well. So I just want you to know how much of an impact that was. And then for all of us to go back, into I say into the office, we were working remotely. Some people were in office, but it really became this conversation and making sure that we have the proper tools, we had that awareness going into these other episodes. So just know that I really wanted to share that with you, because I just need you to know you have made such an impact, and truly, like, I don't take that lightly. So, but with that being said, I want to pivot a little bit because one of the things with your abuser, Tony Alamo, he was very prevalent in Hollywood during these earlier years, if you will. And he gained significant fame among very large name celebrities, and
Hmm.
with his bedazzled jackets, if you will.
Right.
Um, has that impacted your perspective on Hollywood? But equally, do you think that contributes to the notion that people often view Hollywood through, let's just say, rose-colored glasses?
Oh yeah, I don't have very much high opinions about Hollywood.
Yeah,
Look at, look at the news right now. You got named celebrities, coming out of the woodworks, with things that they're doing
kidding.
behind the scenes and stuff. So
Hmm.
I don't expect Hollywood to look at another abuser just like them to be like, oh, let's not, you know, broadcast his jackets and stuff. Let's
Yeah,
not wear his stuff because he's a child molester. They're the same way. I'm not saying everyone in Hollywood is, but I don't have very much high opinions about anybody in Hollywood. So to think that they would stop, him from producing his jackets, or it would stop a celebrity from buying, no, not at all. And they don't even do their research. I mean, you got name celebrities wearing his jacket just because. Like, if I knew
hmm,
this was a jacket produced by children and adults under suppression, I would not want to wear this thing. I would not want to
yeah,
condone, and people are.
hmm,
Whether they're aware of who Tony Alamo is and the jacket that they're wearing, I am not sure, but I definitely don't think Hollywood cared at all.
yeah, yeah. And it was a eye opener to realize that, and then
Mhm.
to see all the different celebrities that were wearing it, and then hearing your story about that as well. And so it's important, like, for people to recognize that, this isn't just a new thing. This isn't just like,
Hmm.
new abusers being outed in this industry. I mean, it has carried
Mm,
on, but Alamo is one of the worst examples of it because of
absolutely.
that. So,
Absolutely.
and truly, you are one of the most incredible women I've ever met in my life, just so you know.
Likewise.
But but truly, your element as a mama, though, is
Mm,
beautiful because you are balancing motherhood along with advocacy and equally still processing your trauma and healing journey. What can you share about that?
wow. So today I am focused on being the best mother I can.
Yeah.
And my favorite line to say is, I don't know how to be a good mother based on example, but of what to do, more so what not to do. So,
Fair.
I, yeah,
Yeah.
my kids are, well taken care of. They're my pride and joy. They have me reflect on myself more than I would like to,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
I'm always like, okay, am I being a good mother in this scenario? Or I'm just always being mindful of them, and
Yeah.
that shapes my life for the most part. And in turn, being a good mother is also, I have to better myself, like, in order to be that good mother. I can't be a good mother unless Pebbles is okay. And in order for me to be okay, that entails a lot of yoga.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do a lot of meditation and grounding. My nervous system doesn't quite know how to regulate itself.
Yeah.
I have like a ginormous forensic report that was made on us girls, and what
Mm.
is quote wrong with us.
Yeah.
And I have to help regulate my system. Just so much years of trauma, of just always shaking or sweating or literally having anxiety attacks where I can't breathe and I'm not sure what triggered that. And it's always soul searching. Like, what was that? What triggered you? Calm down, breathe. So yoga, like breathing, helps me a lot. Your hand on your chest, one on your stomach, and just close your eyes and just ground yourself. I do a lot of that. Um,
Yeah.
I Oh my gosh, I do a lot of work on how to educate myself on how to be a better speaker, so I could be a better advocacy worker here in this field. I want to do more like Toastmasters, that's what it's called. Every Wednesday, they have a
Yeah.
Toastmasters here locally that I found a group, and that's something that I'm going to start pursuing is learning how to read and write better, how to be a little more eloquent, and long-term goal would be to do like TED Talks and
Yeah.
like be more of a public speaker and be okay with my trauma as a regulated individual, so right now I'm really focusing on, I think I've got the mom part down, like I'm really good
Yeah.
at that, and right now it's just focusing on bettering myself, obviously branching out with education because that was denied to
Yeah.
us
Yeah.
growing up in that cult. So yeah, that's
That's
working
incredible.
out and just
Yeah.
educating myself down to a GED. Like that's
Yeah.
something that we never got to do, was get that education. So I'm starting all over. I feel like at times I'm still, a teenager finishing school, and
Yeah.
it's just, yeah, I'm still behind in life too. Like there's a gap from 95 to 2010. I don't really know what happened. So I'm playing catch up
Yeah.
in life. I'm taking care of my traumas. I'm
Right.
trying to instill trust in humans. I
Hmm.
don't have friends. I'm just gonna I know people, I have acquaintances. I cannot get to that level yet where I'm just comfortable with people
Yeah.
without thinking there might be trauma inflicted in some way by them.
Mm.
Which is not a good outlook in life, and I'm always open hearted to people, and until they prove me wrong, I'm gonna be like
Right.
nice. But there's still this huge mistrust, and that's something else that I've got to work in. So yeah, I have a plethora of things that I need to work on, and I'm currently doing it. But
Hell
yeah,
yeah.
what my life entails.
And you're doing it. That's the thing, is that you are
Yes.
being proactive and you are doing it. And it is incredible because when you told me that you were doing Toastmasters, I was like, oh, hell yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
she is. Because truly, people need to
Yeah.
hear from you. And I just have to say, just even watching you, as a mother and your kiddos are just
Mm.
so just well spoken and they're so polite, and it makes me happy to see that you're not allowing your trauma to become this barrier when it comes to your children and being that mother, and then allowing yourself to be passionate about yoga and fitness, because I know that's another one that you really like to hone in on.
Oh yeah.
So how has that been, in terms of like your self-care? Because I think also you brought up, regulating your system, because
Hmm.
as we know, trauma lives with inside of us and it's always going to be there. So being that,
Absolutely.
knowing that, how do you kind of like hone in on the self-care stuff? Like, do you make goals for yourself? How has that kind of come to fruition?
My body sends me there whether I want to go to the gym or not.
Yeah.
My anxiety kicks in and I'm like, oh, gotta go.
Yeah.
I know it's 3, 4 times a week, sometimes once a week. It literally is how I am feeling. There are times so being home with my kids, I cannot stand being home. It
Mm.
reminds me of where I came from. We weren't allowed to leave a home. So, oh, my home can turn into trauma, a prison. As nice as it looks, as nice as I make it, I need to get out of here. I need to
Yeah.
feel like I'm allowed to leave. Like, because that was
Mm.
something. So to this day, I'm still like processing my feelings of, am I allowed to leave my house? Like,
Yeah.
even that alone. So sometimes I'm like feeling these ways, and I'm like, no, let's get out of the house. You can definitely get out and go work it out. Go get whatever is happening. And I sometimes don't understand like why I'm feeling this way, what's triggering me. I just know how to go and take care of it. And I'm, as my partner Ricky says, I'm really good at self-analyzing. Like if I'm having an off day or something, I have to sit down and be like, okay, what's bringing me to this place? We could do the gym and we will, but also why?
Yeah.
And it's an everyday thing. It's not anything that I'm trying to better better myself. It just comes up. It's just something that
Yeah.
has to be managed, addressed, and taken care of. And for me, that's the gym.
Yeah.
That's the gym or knowledge, like educating myself with books or scientifically what's going on in my system and
Yeah.
working out helps with that. So yeah, it's
That's
you have to be a
incredible.
scientist, a therapist, everything for
You gotta
yourself.
do it all.
Yeah.
Can
So
we talk
that's what
about
drives
Ricky
me to the
though?
gym.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Can we talk about Ricky though? Because
Absolutely.
this is a man who loves his lady. I will say that
Aw.
right now. But truly, I could see just the similarities like to Duncan, my husband. But I mean, it
Aw.
takes a very special man to be able to be with a trauma survivor, and especially one when it comes to sexual assault and, breaking through those barriers, because I know for myself, I was blocked. Like I couldn't really handle relationships for a very
Mhm.
long time until I
Mhm.
met Duncan, and until this is someone who will help me, like self-regulate. I mean, full disclosure, I I had a pretty hard day yesterday, and I was
Aw.
hyperventilating a little bit and having a bit of an anxiety attack, and and he helps me like regulate,
Wow.
gets me grounded, helps me with my breathing. He, really is in this
Wow.
space of like he doesn't know entirely what to do, but he knows what to do and what I need, and I could see that in Ricky.
Mhm.
And so yeah, what can you share about Ricky?
100%. That is I feel sorry for our guys first and foremost because
I know.
we don't hand them a manual with here's how to take care of
Yeah.
me when I'm having trauma because half the time
Yep.
we don't know. So to have a
Exactly.
partner that's like just there for you
Yeah.
is, wow, it's priceless. I've
Yeah.
had a previous partner where he could not cope with trauma. That is not
Yeah.
something everybody is equipped to handle, someone, their partner that's gone through that.
Yeah.
So to have Ricky in my life, he is the most supportive partner I've ever met in my life. Down to, you can do this, honey. Go. Yes, I say I want to go get my GED. He's like, yes, do it. You're so much smarter than you realize. You don't give yourself enough credit. I said, I want to start a business. Here, let me help you. X, Y, and Z. This is how you do it. Or
Wow.
he went with me on my show that we worked
Yeah.
on our set. He took care of the kids all day so I can focus on this.
Mhm.
Today on the way out, you've got this, honey. You can do it. And then there are days where I'm just like last night. I had full disclosure.
Girl, telling you,
I
y'all, we're the soul sisters.
and I think it was, I know that this podcast was coming up and I had to talk to my story, and weeks in advance it just creeps up on you. You just start
Yeah.
freaking out, crying, and I'm like, "Oh my God, I've done this a million times. Chill
Yeah.
out." I also have my mom's death anniversary coming up in a month, so it's about that time, so I'm like being
Yeah.
extra sensitive with myself, and
Yeah.
he is just that man for me. I break down, I was like just crying. I was like, I miss my mom. I'm just kind of going through a hard
Wow.
time. I'm in my head a little bit with this, like having to talk with my trauma, and I was like, I've got this, but like what the heck.
Yeah.
And he was like, let's go out. Let's just go for a car ride. Let's go. And we got ourselves some burgers and we went for a long car ride, and he knows that's like my thing. And I was like, see, just those little simple things, like, and I am so grateful for him.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we need to get Dunk and Ricky together because same
Absolutely.
thing. Dunk was like, I'm gonna go stop at, your favorite ice cream shop. What do you want? And then he's like, dang, the line's long. I was like, we have ice cream at home. But then this morning he bought me my breakfast burrito and I was like,
Oh,
okay. All right, thank you. That did make me feel better because yeah, it's
that's
and
awesome.
it's, and I think you just hit on something important too. It's like trauma anniversaries and like those little things sneak in
Hmm.
and just as you said, you have told your story so many times, and this past month I have been telling my story also so many times,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
it does catch up with you and it does stop you in your tracks. And then it's like, where do you go from here? Because I remember having those moments when I was single and alone, and that's when those
Mm.
dark thoughts would start seeping in. So I'm
Oh,
so happy to hear that, he knows how to help you and he is doing it and he's so supportive and he's so funny too. It's just like
yeah.
I loved watching your family dynamic and just seeing
Oh,
how
thank
beautiful of a
you.
family you guys really are. So I love that. But
Thank you.
on the same wavelength though, do you have any advice to offer any trauma survivor who's thinking about breaking their silence and sharing their story in the media?
Absolutely. I think first and foremost, be ready. Um, as ready as you can be. I don't think
Yeah.
they'll ever be getting ready, but try to just do a lot of relaxing things for yourself.
Yeah.
Give yourself grace. Watch how you speak to yourself when
Mm,
you start talking about your trauma, because sometimes our inner voice can be more hurtful than
mm,
um, words that anyone else can say to us.
yeah.
I know for me, I can go into a rabbit hole of yeah, this happened because you're stupid, or yeah, or
Mm, mhm.
or even worse, and I can go into a tailspin. So just take care of yourself while you're trying to help take care of others.
Yeah.
Self-care is so important, just as important as getting your story out. And once you get that story out, it does get easier to tell, and there is hope, and you can help others with your story. And it's important to not silence abuse. It's even if you don't tell anyone, and if you're verbalizing it to yourself in the closet, just that empowerment of speaking it out. Wow, it's incredible, and I'm all for everybody. telling what has happened to them. I'm not the only girl in my cult that lived the life that I had, which was the
Yeah.
extreme abuse and stuff, but not everyone can come forward and talk about it.
Yeah.
So you think of the amount of abused people that are out there and the minute amount of people that have the courage or have the drive to speak about it. Some people are like, nah, I'm going to bury it. I already got my family. I got my life. My boyfriend doesn't even know about that life. Like they just bury that thing and that's okay for some. If that's what helps them in life, then that's okay. But
Yeah.
for me or anybody else that wants to talk about it, I say do it. It's empowering. It'll help you. You remember things you might not want to, but then you're able to file them away in your brain and say, okay, that happened to me and I wasn't at fault. I was a child or yeah, I say 100% go for it. Go for it. Just be
Love that
very careful
answer.
with yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, Thank you so much for saying all of that because that
Thank
is
you.
all true. All true. I love
And
it.
likewise for you. I mean, your work is so hard, Celine. Like,
Yeah.
you're so compassionate and you're hearing everyone's stories and stuff. And,
Yeah.
that alone, just hearing people's stories, I think of you
Beautiful.
too. You're
Mm.
soaking up everyone's trauma and you're like helping everyone. And at the end of the day, like you
Yeah.
must feel
Yeah.
overwhelmed.
I do feel fatigue.
It's a
I will
thankless
not.
job.
Yeah. Yeah.
We
And
need
it's
more
true.
people like you though, because it's
Thank
hard.
you. It is very hard and truly the team that I worked with on this last series, they were so kind
Mm.
to myself and my best friend who was also on the series with me, who is also an SA survivor.
Oh wow.
And so, she was the other me essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And we advocated for ourselves and we said, as sexual assault survivors, we are intaking a lot of that. And so after
Mm-hmm.
we do our pre-interviews, we would like to request that we get a couple hours to regulate our systems, to be able to kind of, disconnect and make sure that we are processing it and making sure that we are doing our jobs. But by allowing us to do that, we can, still do our job as well as that, we can
Mm-hmm.
do. And so they were so gracious about that. And I'm truly thankful
That's great.
that we were able to advocate for ourselves. So
Oh
thank you
yeah.
so much for saying that, truly. But all good things. But all right, Pebbles, this is the part where we start getting to know you a bit
All right.
more. All right, this first one, if you could have any superpower, what would it be and why?
Oh wow. Superpower, fly. I
Yeah.
think flying, soaring. If you ever need a moment to escape, I think that'd be better than the gym. Just go for flight. I'd quickly go up on a mountaintop or something. Yeah, the power of flight.
Ooh, I love it. I like that one. What's the most interesting thing you've read or watched or listened to lately?
Aside from The Walking Dead, no, I'm
You and
literally
Tara and The Walking Dead.
yes. I've just started watching it. I've never watched it,
Yeah.
at all.
Oh,
So
hell yeah.
we're binge watching it. So I'm doing that. I love trash TV. That's kind of like my thing. It's
Yeah.
anything to distract my mind momentarily from life. I love it. As far as books go, I love reading books that can help me understand and get more knowledge in life. I feel like I'm
Yeah.
behind with all of that. So uh, one of my favorite books that I've ever read in my life is called The Body Keeps the Score. And it's
Yeah.
talks about how trauma is not just like an emotional event, but a psychological one that deeply affects the nervous system,
Mhm.
and how it just kind of with science tells you things that you can do, grounding techniques. It talks about how, our trauma isn't just a one and done, how we wear
Yeah.
it, we can see it, the body keeps the score.
Yep.
And just understanding flight or fright, what is it, fight or flight?
Fight or flight.
Uh,
Uh-huh.
yes,
Yeah.
those are things I had never even heard of before. So to hear
Yeah.
how your body can do either this or this or that, I'm like, okay, wow, I'm in that state. What am I going to do? My body's feeling this way because I need to do something. So let's not fight. Let's go flight. Let's
Yeah.
go run off. Let's go cool down. Or
Yeah.
so I like books that
Oh,
help
I
me
love it.
knowledge like that.
I love it. And I promise you're not behind, Pebbles. Like,
Oh,
truly, I know you think you're playing catch up, and I know you're playing catch up, but at the same time, like, you are so inquisitive and so smart. And so truly, like,
thank you.
you're doing an amazing job. What about a favorite show or a favorite movie?
Ooh. So, fun fact is, I don't really like movies because of my
Girl?
ADHD. I can't sit there long enough. I will
Yeah.
fall asleep. Like, don't take me to the movies. That's just not my like, I gotta do shorts, like
Yeah.
attention span. Movies, what, Titanic maybe, or
Oh,
like,
oof. That'll take three
The
years to finish.
Notebook. I don't know. I've seen
Yeah.
those, your
Yeah.
classics, but I don't really, yeah, do a whole lot. I do
Yeah.
TV show, trash TV show.
Yeah. So what trash TV shows then? What are you watching?
Oh, so 90 Day Fiance, Love is Blind,
Mm.
Love at
Mm-hmm.
First Sight. People are just chit chatting, trying to get to know each other for their like depth and not their exterior look, and I find all that fascinating. And
Yeah, I know. I love those. Those are like my escape shows. Absolutely. I get it. And like Love at First Sight, yeah, that one's wild to me.
Mhm.
I'm like,
Oh
man,
yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know if I
I
could
don't know if
ever
I
have
could do
done
that.
that. Yeah, exactly.
I gotta kind of know what you look like.
Truly, truly. How about music? I know you like some
Music.
music. What's some of your
Yes.
favorites?
I'm Latina, so
Mm-hmm.
I love my Spanish music. Lately,
Mm-hmm.
Bad Bunny's like the thing right now.
Love
So
it.
yeah, I love that. But then again, I also love everything. You'll catch me listening to French music, Arabic
Yeah.
music. Like I'm
Wow.
just weird like that. I love Italian music. Like I can understand it for the most part because it's
Yeah.
kind of like
So
Spanish.
close to Spanish.
So it's just like I feel like I'm like learning a little something while I'm hearing things. French just sounds so cool.
Yeah.
So I'm more about like beats and stuff than touching words, I think. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I love that. Ooh, that's so amazing. How about an animal? If you were an animal, what would you be and why?
Mm. Well, I heard one of your previous podcasters say a bird, and I was like, that's exactly what I would have chosen
Yeah.
because specifically a hummingbird. I feel like
Oh,
they're tiny, right? And
yeah.
I'm 4'9", and they're always flapping their wings, right? They're like
Yeah.
flying so fast and they're
Yeah.
constantly having to eat. If they don't eat, they will die because of the amount of energy that they're expelling.
Yeah.
And I always like resonate with hummingbirds because I'm like, I have to constantly be feeding off of positive people, otherwise I will
Mm,
die. If this
mm,
bird ain't constantly getting that positivity, like I'm going to wither away. I need to be filling my soul all the time. That's how I keep
yeah.
living. That's how I keep going, just nourishing myself. So I am a hummingbird. And
Oh, I love that answer. Oh, that was beautiful. Now, how about a hobby or a passion that people would be surprised to learn about you?
Mm. I love crafting. I have
Yeah?
an entire craft room. I
Wow.
have, heat press shirt machines and the crickets and the,
Yeah.
I'm very
Yeah.
crafty. I have a lot of scrapbook wallpaper books that we kind of talked about. Like I have this thing with them because wallpaper books was an escape for me and my trauma
Yeah.
in my
Yeah.
past.
Yeah.
Like, so I collect wallpaper books and make little things out of them. I know it's a little weird, but that's like
No.
that and the gym obviously are
Mm-hmm.
like my passions. And one thing I wanted to say about that is why another reason why I love that so much is because I feel like in my life I gave everything to religion, my all,
Mm.
and it
Yeah.
failed me. Look
Yeah.
what it did to me. Um, I gave my all to relationships and they turned really bad on me. Like people were just fucking evil.
Yeah.
So you can give your all to something and you're not guaranteed to get that back. You could raise your
Mm.
kids the right way, but who's to say they're going to turn out good? You
Yeah.
could just hope and pray you do your best. So I feel like with the gym though, I give it 100.
Yeah.
it's gonna give me 100. It's gonna give me back whatever I give it. So it's just this gratifying reward system I have with it. If I don't show up, it's not gonna show up for me.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
yeah.
what a
So
beautiful answer. Yeah.
crafting, gym, coffee.
All three at the same time. No, just kidding.
Yes.
Now, do you like to sing or any kind of karaoke?
Ooh,
Or do you have a karaoke song?
oh wow. I kissed a girl and I liked it.
Girl.
Probably because I know the words. It was so bad. When that song came out, I was like, oh my gosh, she's so evil. So on
Yeah.
karaoke songs, I'll be like blasting it, like I just sing like every
Not what I
action.
was expecting.
I know.
I
I
love
am
this.
a girl of all trades.
That is the most perfect answer. I love it. I love it. I know this next answer though, but I'm excited to hear you say it. Where's your travel go-to, your favorite spot?
Oh, you already know, Puerto Rico.
Yep.
Yeah. With that being said, though, I need to branch out. I need to go look at other countries. I've been to Mexico and it's absolutely beautiful. You don't uh growing up, you don't hear a lot of like, oh, Mexico's the way to go. And
Yeah.
having been there, I'm like, wow, that really is a destination more people should go to.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
Mexico, I want to do Thailand, and lately
yeah.
our family's been talking about Japan. So
We have two.
that's awesome.
That's
Wow.
hilarious.
I
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
see the culture,
Yeah.
dressed in black, the boots, the
Yeah.
whole vibe. Like
Yeah.
that's a whole different world, that exposure of culture that we don't have here. Maybe a little bit
Exactly.
in there in LA, but like full
Yeah.
blown culture, it's
Yeah.
unbeatable.
Yeah.
Traveling is something that is a privilege, and
Mhm.
it broadens your horizon. You get to be more empathetic to people and cultures and their differences, and it makes you grow as a human, and it's a fun experience. So
Oh,
traveling is
yeah. Oh, I love that. And we also connected on our favorite city, one of our favorite cities here in the US, and that's Seattle.
yes, absolutely.
That
Seattle's
is another one.
beautiful. Oh my gosh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
It's so
I stayed at
tranquil.
the Edgewater just watching all the ships come in. Ricky like
Oh,
took me on a little romantic getaway there, and ever since then I've fallen in love with Washington. We
yeah.
drove to Mount Rainier really quick, and it was just
Oh,
breathtaking. I mean, the air quality is
I was about to
insane.
be like the air quality 'cause
That
our air
alone, I
here
could
is awful.
breathe. Yeah,
And the
yeah.
trees. Like I never thought I was like a trees person. Like I live in the mountains, so I see trees all the time. But like my very first time in Seattle, I just remember driving from the airport and I was just like, this is the most breathtaking thing I think I have ever seen in my life. Just all the greenery and it's just and then you see the mountains and just the water.
Mhm.
It's just oh, I miss
And
it
have
so
you been
much.
to the market? What's it called?
Oh,
Pike's Place, I think.
girl, I go and get beachers. I'm like, I need to get my curds and my cheese.
Yes.
Like, I love the market. And we actually took our engagement photos in Seattle and we went
Oh,
to a wonderful restaurant at Pike's. Is it Maximilian's, I want to say? And it's a little French restaurant. You can overlook the
oh,
water. Like you and Ricky have to do it. It is, oh, that food
oh
was
my gosh.
so good. But
Maybe we
Pike's is
could
my
do
jam.
it together.
I know. And then
Let's
maybe
all
like,
go.
let's just go. Let's just do it.
Yeah, we can let the guys meet.
Exactly. All right. Well, we're gonna be planning that then. So speaking of food, local favorites for you, is there like a restaurant, a shop, a bookstore, a coffee shop that is just your go-to?
Mm, wow. Okay, I'm gonna do a shameless plug for my coach. Mark
Yeah.
Lindsay helped me kick my butt into shape. He now has his own little gym, and it's called Limited Performance. So I've gone him, Ricky's gone to him. He is life-changing, amazing. So that's like a go-to place for me right there. He is
Yeah.
hands down the best coach.
Love it.
um, yeah, he's still doing competitions, and he's like
Wow.
in the older category. So to see him, it's just awe-inspiring.
Yeah.
There's that. Let's see, any local shops. Oh, I love carnicerias. There's like these little Mexican
Oh,
shops that sell already pre-made food, and there's like a specific shop that makes food better than I could ever possibly make it. There's like little chicharrones and
oof.
rice, arroz, but like you just name it. So, I love those kind of things.
Well, now I'm hungry and now I want
Yeah, the
chicharrones.
Mexican food here is like amazing. So
Forget it. Oh, I know. I'm just sitting there. I'm like, I don't even want to hear it right now because
yeah,
I want
I'll just
all of
stop
it.
right there.
I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. This last
Celine, you're
question.
awesome.
Who are I truly, this is one of the funnest interviews I've done thus far, but truly this one is it's so close to my heart. But last but not least, who are some of your heroes and how have they inspired you?
Hero's a big word to use, I feel like.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Fair.
I'm gonna start with my partner Ricky here, my life partner. He has been my hero so many times,
Yeah.
picked me up from the floor, wiped my tears. Um, oh, I can't say enough about this man. If I digress, I'm gonna like break down in tears. You're a hero of mine, Celine.
Oh,
Um, wow, I'm so emotional. Heroes are very few and far in between. They're more like angels to me. Anybody that has ever been there and been a source of comfort for me, um, has been understanding or at least tried to understand me as an individual and my traumas and just given me a fair shot and not just looked at me as, oh, you've been in a cult or this or that, or like looking at me through jaded eyes. You're my hero. You weren't closed minded. You've shown me love. Um, I've had people in mom groups that had let me open up and be a voice of like just speak up and just cry on their shoulders and let out all this traumatic spew that I had at the moment. I wasn't sure what was going on, and I just like divulged everything. And I had this lady at this mom group, just like, wow, like
yeah.
at that moment, she was my hero. I needed that, and in turn, she said, you know what? I was almost in a cult myself. She said, my
Wow.
husband doesn't even know about this. I
Oh,
was almost dragged into a cult. I can't believe you're telling me this. This happened to me, and I've never told anybody. And I was
wow.
like, what?
Wow.
So
Oh,
anybody that's ever been there for me in some form or another,
yeah.
thank you. You're my hero. Um,
That's
Farah. Farah is my hero. Having a
fair.
conversation with that woman is so inspiring. The work that she's done. Oh my gosh. Like, yeah.
She is an
Anyone that's
incredible.
positive in my life that has,
Yeah.
encountered me, I think you're my hero.
Ugh, right back at you, sister. I mean, like I said, you are the reason that we are sitting down today. And it is not lost on me how hard your life has been. And knowing your story, so much of it has stayed with me. It has really reshaped my outlook on how I'm a producer, but equally as a human. And and Pebbles, like truly just watching you do the damn thing and still have that beautiful smile and hearing that laugh and it is truly you're equally a gift to me.
Thank you.
Uh now I'm getting emotional. But truly just being able to be there and full disclosure, Farah's interview will be coming up soon. But with that being
Yay!
said, you
Oh, she's
know,
awesome.
being able to share those moments that we had, all together and having that bracelet with
Yeah.
us and uniting us and she really, really, really made sure that all of us were okay and like I said, it is not lost on me that meeting you was one of the best things that came out of producing that series because that the hardest series I have had to produce thus far. And what you have gone through and what you continue to do, and hearing that you are getting your GED, you are doing the damn things. I am so in awe of your strength. And like I said at the beginning, your resilience, your bravery, all of it. I know life has handed you a shitty amount of cards, and watching you just become this woman and this true beacon of hope. I hope you know that you are so special, and you are so special to me. And I thank you for doing this with me today, because I know there was some anxiety about it. And I really do hope that, you look back on this and remember how far you have come. And I'm so honored that you chose to sit down and do this with me and allow the world to get to know the Pebbles that I have, known over these last several months, and which feels like a decade, because truly you are my soul sister in this, and I will be
Oh,
here for you through and through. And just know that truly you're here. You're in mi corazón.
likewise. Likewise, Celine. I'm always here. I know you're like a mentor and someone I can cry on, but likewise, like I have a shoulder too. And I have ears, and I hear your heart, and I see you, and I know what you're doing is not easy.
Yeah.
And you're giving a platform for so many people, and that is a beautiful thing. Meanwhile, you're dealing with your own stuff and hearing our stories. Like, we need
Yeah.
more people to do this kind of work, because it's incredible. And thank you for letting me let people know who I am aside from trauma,
Yeah.
my personality, my likes and dislikes. And thank you.
Of course. Always here for you, sister. Thank you so much for doing this.
Likewise.
Be sure to join me next week when I sit down with Farah Faisal, an Emmy Award-winning investigative journalist and producer. With a remarkable career as a national and international television news correspondent, Farah has earned a reputation for her fearless reporting from war zones and her compelling coverage of vulnerable communities. Her work has taken her to some of the world's most dangerous places, including Mexico, where she's reported on the harrowing lives of children affected by the drug cartels. Known for her deep connections and innovative storytelling, Farah excels as an unscripted field producer and director, delivering original character-driven and empathetic content across various platforms. This is True Crime in Hollywood, a personal tale. Thank you for listening. And as always, remember the victims and embrace the survivors.